Good morning and Assalamu alaikum. If I could request everybody to be seated, please. We'll begin with the recitation of the Holy Quran, followed by national anthem. And I would request everybody to please stand when the national anthem starts. Thank you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد
Zul Jalal. The blessings of God, may they all be with us always. Welcome to the second day of the Future Summit. I'm just going to recap yesterday for everyone. We had so many gems here on the stage in terms of discussions and talks and takeaways. I would like to welcome the panel and our moderator on stage to start our first discussion of the morning.
Okay, good morning. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It's a pleasure to be in Karachi. I come here often because of work, and I have some family here. But I have a strong connection with the city because I was born here many years ago. And spent formative years growing up in Karachi, so it has a very special place in my heart. And it's lovely to see all of you here this morning and all the guests that have come from outside of Pakistan and talking about the future. So I found myself asking the question yesterday, why is this important for me? Why is this important for my family? And to borrow an analogy from the military, you have the heat-seeking missile in the military. So this object that sort of finds heat and attacks. And so I feel that human beings are purpose-seeking. So by nature, we look for purpose. We look for the why. So we have our reptilian brain, but we have our frontal cortex and the rest of our brain that's always looking for purpose, the why. And I think it's important to sort of ground this panel this morning in the context of why this is important. And as we talk about the future, I think one theme that perhaps hasn't been touched on so far is longevity. So let me show you a graph, and I think this graph sort of drives the point home. If we look at 200 years ago from today, approximately, lifespans average across the world were around under 30. So in the 1770s, 1800s, people expected to live to about 30 years old or less. Lifespans on average today in most of the world are in excess of 70 years. And in fact, in the Oceania and countries such as Japan, I'm sure you've all heard of, lifespans typically will cross 85, and there'll be a number of people that will live into the triple digits. So why is this important? There's a very good chance that many of you in the audience, and certainly your children and your grandchildren, will live to be 100 years old or more. Infant mortality, the benefits of health science have gotten us to that point. So as we look at life in a 100-year life, we have to rethink our traditional 3-stage life model. So it's no longer going to be, I'm born, I'm educated, I work, and I retire. That works if you're living to 65 or 70. But if you're going to live to 100, and 65 is no longer the age in which you retire and then do nothing, as many of you may have thought of, you need to rethink a multi-stage life. And if you start thinking about a multi-stage life, then you really need to ask the question, how am I adapted to that lifestyle? Am I going to be productive into my 60s, into my 70s, into my 80s? There's a famous saying people say certainly in the developed part of the world that 70 is the new 40. Right? So if you're 70 now or you're 60 now, well, it's like you're 40 because you have so much of life ahead of you. So if you're all going to live to 90 or 100, how are you going to live a meaningful, purpose-driven life? And what does digitization and technology have to offer to you as you live in that life? Do you have the vitality, the adaptability to think, to relearn, to reskill? And do you have a strong network around you of friends and family, co-workers who are going to support you through that process? And are you equipped to use the technology of the future? So this is the thought that I wanted to start the discussion with, that perhaps this is very, very important to you all because we're going to be living a digital future for a very, very long time. So we need to stop thinking about IT-shity or technology or whatever and really embrace. I don't know about all of you, but for me, I get hooked on to the cloud, and then they say, well, the cloud's last year's buzz, now it's metaverse. Right? I get hooked on to big data, and they say, well, big data is gone. Now it's all about AI and generative AI. So every few years, every few months, it feels, the technology landscape shifts. So I invite all of you to rethink and reskill and put those hats on and say, this is going to certainly be lifelong learning. So with that, I'm going to stop my monologue and now ask this incredible panel that we have assembled for you to give some opening remarks. We have fintech, prop tech, health tech. We have a number of techs in the room. So we'll start perhaps with Anna. If Anna can kick us off and give us some opening remarks, about 3 to 4 minutes, and then we'll go around with all the speakers, and then perhaps I'll ask them a few questions, and we can hope to learn from each other. Anna, over to you.
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today. And today's topic is our digital future. And we have seen with the years the digitalization of a number of services, and especially it was boosted by the COVID-19 pandemic when it was when the borders were closed, we couldn't travel as well. For example, the use of cash was considered unsanitary. So we have seen development of different digital payments solution and more access to digital services. And generally, the digitalization is quite vital, especially in our times. And in our 21st century, we still have a lot of people, around 1.1 billion people, who still don't have even their own, they can't claim their identity, and they don't have any digital identity. So, for example, in this case, maybe Web3 identity may be a solution for them and to give access to the financial services, to the education and other public healthcare and other public services. At the same time, around 1.4 billion people still remain unbanked, and of course, as I mentioned, COVID-19 pandemic accelerated the growth of the adoption of different digital payment solutions, and as well adoption of cryptocurrency, which gives access to people who are unbanked to the financial services. And another interesting initiative, I was in January at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland, in Davos, and the World Economic Forum, in cooperation with the Digital Cooperation Organization, launched an initiative on the acceleration of digitalization and attracting of foreign direct investment digitalization, and to identify the challenges of different digitalization solutions, and to improve the climate in the countries to attract FDIs. And the interesting fact that Pakistan is one of the first countries, along with Rwanda, which are participants of this initiative.
Thank you, Anna. In fact, I think one of the very surprising things that I found out very recently is that as far as crypto adoption is concerned, Pakistan is certainly in the top 5, if not in the top 3 countries in the world that has cryptocurrency, Bitcoin transactions, and Ethereum transactions, etc. So as much as we'd like to think that a lot of Pakistan is unbanked with traditional banking, which may certainly be true, people are very savvy and they tend to use crypto in Pakistan remarkably. In fact, even amongst people, I was in a taxi cab and I could overhear the taxi cab driver talking about his crypto wallet and his crypto transaction using EasyPesa and the like. So it's an incredible story, and we'll delve more into that. Derek, I want to invite you now to sort of give us a completely different view from a completely different universe. We've been talking offline about many different technologies, but I'm not going to steal your show. Please tell us about what you've been working on, what you think about the future of tech.
Yeah, hello everyone. Yeah. So I'm Derek Hoekenkamp. I was born in the Dutch Caribbean and now I live all around the world. And I've seen a lot of things, and I think we have to redefine everything. So including the metaverse, including digital payments. Because everybody always looks at the commercial value of it, right? But how do you use metaverse in a good way? How do you use digital currencies in a good way? How do you utilize them? So for example, metaverse, everybody, oh, metaverse, new thing, whoa. Not true. In 2000, I opened a metaverse company, which was called Career Fever, with a Dutch guy, which you went into a building and you had like all different rooms. You went in and you had your interview, your job interview. All the big companies were there. It was a very, very, in the internet boom, right? And now suddenly metaverse is something big. There's a commercial driven behind this. What is really the utility of the metaverse? I believe the utility of the metaverse is education, is having the children engaged in, for example, maintaining the culture of Pakistan, right? For example, why do some children don't go to mosque or don't go to certain museums? Because it's not interesting for them. So use the metaverse, use augmented reality, use VR to make it interesting for them. I don't want to go to church or to the mosque or to the temple with my grandma anymore because it's not interesting. So that's why we have to use metaverse. That's why we can use digital currencies. And the other side, of course, is that it's more seamless, or in prop tech that you use IoT, that you use metaverse. Same as well, we're going from Web 2 to Web 3 and blah, 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 blah. Great. What's the use? Nobody knows. Everybody in this room has a different definition of Web 3. And what is really the use? So do it step by step. Make it useful. For example, I'm working on a project to digitalize certain buildings, certain cultural buildings, to maintain cultural heritage and include rejuvenation and really conscious help for the people and for the new generation. And I believe that Pakistan really has a drive for this. And I think that Pakistan, especially in this region, because I believe in this region, I believe in, for example, the region of Pakistan and the region of Southeast Asia, there is the new future of the world. Because the world is shifting. So I believe there is a huge opportunity here. And I'm happy you say rejuvenation and consciousness, because if you go to the nature here in Pakistan, where can you get this? You guys have everything. They asked, oh, what do we have? You have a young generation here, which is super driven, which is already fully digital. And you have all this nature, which is one of the most beautiful on earth. I mean, you guys are so lucky. Don't only look at the economical drive. It's the same, if you only focus on money, you will never earn money, you'll never become rich. If you focus on what you have in front of your face, then you get your economical benefits. So that's what I believe. And I'm for the 4th time or 5th time in Pakistan now, and I love it. I love the place. And the people are also super, super welcoming and fantastic. So, I mean, you're blessed with your country. So that's why I think that focus on the right thing, focus on rejuvenation, focus on utility, focus on what is really there. And don't go too heavy into details. I don't remember what was the internet. Do you know how the internet works? I remember when I had my internet company how it works. I don't know how it works now anymore, even though I'm in digitalization. Do you really know how blockchain works? Yeah, of course, I know what is blockchain. Do I care how blockchain works? No, other people can do that for me, right? So it's the same. Let's focus on the good things. Let's focus on consciousness. Let's focus on longevity. Let's focus on nature. Let's focus on what really is, and all the economical and the wealth comes by itself.
Fantastic. Wow, what a what an impassioned message about the vibrancy of Pakistan. Really appreciate that, Derek. So let's switch gears. We've talked about augmented reality. We're talking about how to rejuvenate and how to bring places alive using technology and the utility of technology. I want to hand it over now to Michael. Michael is obviously one of our champion panelists on fintech. So let's hear from Michael and hear what he thinks about the future, especially of fintech and enablement and inclusion. Go ahead.
So thank you very much for the invitation. It's an honor to be here to experience Pakistan with all the glory. First of all, I think having spent 20 odd years in digital transformation, building platforms, taking different parts of the value chain, I do believe that there is actually a change happening. There's a change from where the kind of the monolith of the world are being broken down. The financial services cannot be offered no more by the banks. There is an opportunity for fintechs and the young generation to offer services that are really inclusive, that are really pushing the needle in terms of financial inclusion. And I think it's great to see that regulation and a drive towards change can really empower a nation, can empower the ability to actually provide something new and something refreshing. So that all kind of boils down to providing more financial institutions with more financial services and an ecosystem that's thriving. So I'm really much enjoying kind of the platform contribution or the platform thinking around offering a more thriving ecosystem. So, yeah.
Thank you, Michael. I think it's also important now to bring in Dr. Rehan into the conversation, and he has a significant sort of expertise around, very varied expertise. His sort of experiences span from health tech and the kind of work that he does with hospitals and digitization, but also into DeFi and into the world of fintech as well. So we'd love to hear your perspective about what the digital future looks like for you, where you are with the context of Saudi Arabia, of the region, and also how you think that can help transform lives.
So the idea was to reach out to healthcare to those rural areas and villages and those cities where the expertise was not there. Recently, Saudi Arabia's Saha launched a program where they have the world's biggest virtual hospital. So 130 hospitals are connected with this application. The idea was to have IoT, augmented reality, and the specialities. There are about 35 subspecialties and almost 10 specialities offering on this platform. There is also a virtual ICU. So the idea is that how we can provide the same level of service, healthcare services, to those living in the remote areas. And I think it's a very successful story, and I think it should be replicated throughout, in other regions as well, that how you can sustainably utilize your existing resources and give the same quality of healthcare services to those living and beyond your approach. So, and also this helped in transferring the knowledge from the experts, the consultants, to the junior doctors and practitioners in that peripheral areas. So I think healthcare has transformed a lot actually when it comes to the digitalization, and Saudi Arabia is very, the Vision 2030 is, we are very aligned with it. The digital transformation, when it comes to the digital transformation, and adaptability is awesome. I mean, there's a very strong adaptability in the services and in the applications and the usability with the even with the mass and the population. And I think we should, as I said, that this has to be replicated, throughout the world. That technology is there. You have almost the population have smartphones, and you have the resources. So why shouldn't you move on and digitalize the healthcare as well? And especially when it comes to the such critical health. I mean, this program has really helped a lot of patients, especially the elderly patients at home. There is now a separate program in Saha, the e-oncology. So they are helping the oncologists actually to help the junior doctors and subspecialists to help those patients in administrating and managing the conditions. E-radiology, pharmacy. I mean, the horizon is very wide, and there's so many things that has been we are doing it and can be used in other countries. The biggest second e-health service is in America with 43 hospitals. I mean, this is the huge, and it's been run successfully. So what I'm trying to say is that I think we have done it, and other can learn from it and can replicate it and transform the healthcare. I mean, and the results are awesome actually. So yes, there's a lot of things been happening, and still there are a lot of program and pipeline which we will see in the future as well.
Exciting developments. And sometimes people don't think about looking at, for example, the Gulf countries, Saudi Arabia, etc., as a model. And I think that we're mistaken. Having lived in the UAE myself for about 20 years now, I think that you can really see innovation being unleashed in the Gulf countries, in Saudi Arabia and in KSA. And the value of visionary leadership that enables, that provides the right kind of vision, drive, and then provides the resources to do great things. So Saudi is coming off as a massive model, especially in the last couple of decades of complete transformation of society and uplift. In the UAE, I think we all know about, especially those who have traveled there, the incredible things that part of the world is doing. And there's a lot to learn because Pakistanis, in many cases, are the engine, are the fuel of that transformation. In fact, we have a very significant role to play. So I think that it would be a crying shame if we're not able to bring all that expertise that is Pakistani in its essence, for a large part, back into Pakistan and utilize it here. I want to hand it over to Zishan now. Zishan, your company, InvoiceMate, has been doing some very interesting things in the blockchain space and in fintech. Please tell us about what InvoiceMate is up to and what gets Zishan out of bed in the morning.
Thank you. Good morning, audience. So first, I just proceed with the point which Derek has made, and that was being very much important. Apart from the InvoiceMate, representing the profession also. What is being happening? IoT is coming, Metaverse coming, so much big data is coming, so much technologies, the IT and the tech guys, they are developing, they are deploying. But are we getting the utility? We are developing the use cases for that. One thing is that the developer's job is to create an idea, provide a platform. Metaverse is there. First time someone asked me in the profession, I'll share the true story, and he said that one of my clients said to me, I have got a space in Metaverse and now rented it out. How to do the accounting treatment? And he said that, yeah, I don't know which place this colony is being situated. So the issue with these technologies is that IT, tech, they are being evolving. But do the profession, accountancy profession, auditing profession, our regulators, our banking system, are they getting the benefit of this? Otherwise, we are not getting the full benefit, the full enjoyment, the full way that technology can come to us in the proper way. So, if I'll move with the profession of accountancy, advisory specifically areas, all the new startups, all the new concepts, they have to be in line with this new technology. What is the basic issue with the auditing? We need a track, we need a proper trail, we need to see that all the steps they are being properly placed. And that's the same issue we need to do for our auditing. That's the same issue the taxation people they need to do. That's the same thing which State Bank needs to see. That's the same thing which there is a biggest financing product, and that is the invoice financing, which is being unleashed still to date in Pakistan. And if we put the burden to the banks that why they can't do it, they are very much right. Because once the chain is not complete, data is not being reliable, how they can provide a financing for an invoice? And what happens then? They get the evergreen lines, and then the company leverage just start increasing. These becomes the permanent working capitals, and they are not going to end ever, and then there comes the defaults. The crunch periods in the economies as we are being moving today, this is a part and parcel. But those companies who are well structured, who have the well technology with them, they can only do it. So with the advice made and with this whole blockchain concept, the very first time we will be thinking the blockchain, it was being a synonym for Bitcoin. And speaking Pakistan now, this transformation is that we can say the Bitcoin the stage. But very first time I went to the conference 5-6 years back, they said never say the Bitcoin the stage, it's banned in Pakistan. So this is the transformation of the thoughts that yes, we have to accept the certain realities. So with the InviceMate, what we want to do is that we are developing the complete ERP, which is being supported, which is being powered by the blockchain. But that's not being a simple ERP. We want that this blockchain-based whole invoice solution, it should be there with the financial system. Now, the person who is going to make the invoice, who is going to accept the invoice, they are identified. Nobody can make a corrupt to that. You can do the funding, you can do the invoice funding, you can get the credibility. We have the ECIB, but that is for the financial sector. Let's develop a ECIB for the non-corporate sector. So blockchain is a basic concept in which all these areas are being covered. And we are not in just at the concept phase, it's at launch. We have already been working, we are moving with the enterprise version. And the best thing is that the biggest cost for your digital banks, the biggest cost for your SME banks is to go and search the right customers. Using the InviceMate, using the blockchain technology, digitalizing your business in which the data has its authentication, banks, they don't have to incur that cost. So the outreach would not be only with the big giants. Outreach will be the small, the medium, and very basic small business also. So that's the strength that one use case can create, and we can move over this. So again, as long these technologies, for example, just as Derek was being saying, the metaverse, Dr. Saab, he was being saying for this whole digital world for the virtual hospital. So why not we are being having the banking metaverse there, in which all the banks are being there with their own avatar. They are telling what products they are being having, and the regulator is sitting there also in the form of avatar, saying what the promises and what the concept they are being moving to that. So everything is possible unless this technology is not being transformed into the use case. So this is what our specialty is, and we are working on that area, and we are seeing a transformation. People are listening over this, and we are being actually doing the bridging job between this technology and the industry and the regulator and the businesses and the startups. So that's the way forward as per me, and we are moving towards that.
Thanks, Jishan. I think this idea of the banking metaverse is something that really sort of jumps up at me. And if I put my hat on as an entrepreneur, somebody who leads a retail franchise for coffee and tea, the banks in Pakistan especially love to take really premium real estate, corner real estate plots, and they sort of, in my view, almost hog the best spaces. And where the rest of the world is moving towards digitization in banking and becoming branchless, in Pakistan, unfortunately, still there's a very significant focus on physical banking. So I love this idea of the banking metaverse, and I hope that it catches on, perhaps due to a few selfish reasons of my own. But let me come back to Anna, because you also mentioned Bitcoin and how Bitcoin was something that people said is banned. People say about technology, you can try and ban technology, but technology always finds a way. You can try and stop the sort of regular ways, but people will always find a way to access assets, and especially digital assets. So, Anna, tell us about what your thoughts are about Bitcoin. I'm still confused. Does it need to be a part of my portfolio? Is it a portfolio diversification strategy? Is it a replacement of money? Are we looking at crypto and specifically Bitcoin to replace money altogether, or is Ethereum going to be the way I do my smart contracts in the future? What is your view on the future of crypto? And are we finally arrived into the new age of disintermediation?
So basically, Bitcoin was created by Satoshi Nakamoto, mysterious anonymous person or group of people, as P2P money. So initially it was created for the sending payments over the internet in an anonymous way. But now we see as well different other adoptions of Bitcoin. Some people consider it as a store of value, as digital gold. Additionally, in the recent years, we have seen that even some countries adopt Bitcoin as their official currency. For example, the first country in the world which adopted Bitcoin as a legal tender was El Salvador, and another country is South African Republic, which approved Bitcoin as official currency in April last year. And we see that the same El Salvador is quite remittance-dependent economy, and where it's really vital for those people to use Bitcoin to reduce the fees for the sending of these remittance payments. The same we saw in other countries how Bitcoin cryptocurrency became very important. For example, in Venezuela with the hyperinflation, in Lebanon, and in some other countries. Another use case for the cryptocurrency is cross-border transfers. And when you go to the bank and you just want to send even like 200 or less sum to your friends in another country, it would take at least a few days for the bank transfer. And as well, there will be a big fee. So it's not useful for the small cross-border transactions. In the case with cryptocurrency, the fee is usually up to $1 when there are high gas fees, like with Ethereum, maybe it's up to $5 or something like that, but that fee is pretty small. And as well, the transactions are pretty immediate. And I'm originally from Ukraine, and we have seen how cryptocurrency became a very powerful tool during the times of the war, during times of different crises. And Ukraine raised over $178 million in cryptocurrency and crypto donations by the Ukrainian government alone, and it's not counting the donations to private charity organizations and volunteers. And when in such situation, you need to immediately help other people. You need to buy some equipment and other necessities. It's a great solution, and as well it's great when other merchants accept cryptocurrency as a payment method. As well, we have seen another initiative like with the earthquake in Turkey. They as well created a DAO which raised donations in cryptocurrency to help those people. When you mentioned whether Bitcoin is banned in some countries, I think currently it's banned only in China, but still Chinese are one of the most active investors into Bitcoin. And Bitcoin can mean can have different meaning for different people. For somebody, it's store of value, digital gold. Some people just use it for the payments. For my opinion, Bitcoin currently is not vital to use for everyday payments because it's so volatile. So stable coins in this case are a much better solution. And we have seen now as well a number of other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and many other use cases, and those are just thousands of them. So most of them are called utility tokens, so they should be used in the ecosystem in this or that app, but a lot of people as well still use it, like the same as money or investment and so on. Another case we see the appearance with the Ethereum of smart contracts, where you can remove intermediaries and you can build different applications on top of different blockchains. And we see now not only Ethereum, but a lot of other layer 1 solutions, so alternative blockchains, and layer 2 solutions which try to reduce the fees for Ethereum transactions and to accelerate the speed of the payments. So we have seen as well a number of different applications building on those blockchains, and blockchain allows to remove intermediaries, remove third parties, which reduces a lot the cost of this other transaction. Additionally, we have seen that first governments and big players were quite against the adoption of cryptocurrency, of Bitcoin, and of course it's understandable because it's a rival monetary system. I don't think that Bitcoin or any other currency will replace totally fiat. I think they will coexist, and especially now countries researching 114 countries implementing or experimenting with the so-called central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. But in this case, CBDCs can be called a really cryptocurrency because unlike decentralized currencies, they are controlled only by one entity, a centralized bank. But maybe we will see not retail CBDCs in the future, but just for the use for international trade between countries and so on. And as well, banks now get into blockchain cryptocurrency too. Like many corporations and banks have been already using blockchain for years, but now they're considering as well the use of cryptocurrencies themselves and DeFi. For example, last year, JP Morgan made the first cross-border DeFi trade in tokenized deposits of tokenized Singaporean dollars to tokenized Japanese yen. And they used Polygon blockchain for the on-chain transactions. And JP Morgan as well considers that tokenized deposits will have bigger adoption than stable coins because they are by more trusted parties, by the banks, and they may implement this for DeFi trading.
Wow, that's a lot to grapple with. I want to bring in Michael here, staying with fintech for a second, and with crypto. You wanted to say something, Michael? Go ahead.
So I just wanted to go back to your perspective on being visiting a banking branch in the metaverse, and it kind of got me thinking: like, would I need to visit a branch? I mean, at the end of the day, I want financial services in the palm of my hand. The young generation expects it to be here. And so even though the metaverse is an interesting kind of venue to go down and say, can I create a branch, then I think the future is more in terms of the embedded finance. The financial services are becoming more or less a commodity because of technology, because of lowering the barriers for new players to enter. And I think it's interesting to see that you can actually put financial services inside your normal kind of offering. So in embedded finance, you can empower the usual kind of, you can have stock, inventory, other things, but you can also have financial services. So again, financial services kind of disappears as more of a physical thing, even a metaverse thing, and it becomes kind of embedded into your everyday life. And that's really kind of powerful in terms of when you think about it, you could create these kind of value propositions to specific segments, to a pizza maker, for instance. They could have an app, they could have a pizza maker app that not only provides them with all the kind of their needs in terms of stock items, etc., but it also provides them with financial services. Why do they need to go necessarily to a bank? Why do they need to create an account? Why can't they just do that, just like they would with creating an inventory item? And I think the technology and the capabilities of the technologies that are coming allows that to be much easier to do in the future. And that's really, for me, very exciting.
Yes, I mean, the enablement that the technology platform will provide to democratize, make it easily accessible is something really exciting. I found another point that Anna made were quite intriguing in Ukraine, for instance, and in other parts of the world where sometimes a shock to the system, whether that's in the form of war or whether that's in the form of a pandemic, that can really help accelerate the adoption of technology so quickly. The post-COVID era, for instance, as far as EdTech is concerned, as far as collaboration is concerned, FinTech services is concerned, that really sort of jolted the entire world really into coming into a sort of new realization for the value of a lot of technologies that would have otherwise taken perhaps much longer to become mainstream and adopted. I want to come back to you, Derek. You've been living in the UAE for a very long time. You've had a lot of experience sort of living in different parts of the world. How do you see the development of AI, ML, and these technologies in the areas that you work? What are the opportunities that, and what are the things that, the trends that people should be aware of and look forward to? Love to hear your thoughts.
Dangerous question. First of all, about Bitcoin, to come back, I was really happy to wake up this morning that it went up 10%. That first of all. Second of all, Bitcoin, is it really decentralized? Who knows? Big question. Metaverse and DAOs, are they really decentralized? Big question. So there's many questions to be answered. Yeah, is Bitcoin important? Of course. Is it a good thing? Yes, because you can compare it to the internet era, right? In the internet era, when I had an internet company, there were big names like Yahoo or like Excite or like all this. They were on the top. They were worth billions of billions. And they were 1000x like Bitcoin is now, right? Where are those companies now? Where are they? Right? So think. There will be always, in my opinion, there will be some control. It can never be decentralized completely. It's a different thing with Invoice Mate, right? They're using the blockchain, a system to make it work. And he really uses blockchain and the new technologies to make your life easier. And it's working, and it doesn't depend on decentralization or metaverse or whatever. So that's really a use case, right? And it's working, and it's proven. So coming back to your question, machine learning, ML, or artificial intelligence, AI, be careful, because it is very dangerous what we're doing now. Machine learning, machines can have emotions already, that has been proven. If you do AI on emotions, then you know what can happen. Imagine a machine gets angry, and machine has a lot of power. So it's very dangerous field we are in now. And I think we should be really careful. AI, yes, can absolutely work. AI combination with machine learning in factories, for example. Parallel twinning, I believe a lot in parallel twinning. So meaning, again, using a real existing thing, putting a twin of it, an exact parallel twin, and a triplet. The triplet can be gamified because there are people here in the crowd who create games. It's a different world that should not be mixed with parallel twins. It should not be mixed. There are two different metaverses. One is sandbox, which is all virtual and this and that, and it's all games and this and that. That's a different story. But parallel twinning can really be useful. Look at factories. If you copy a factory, you don't have to travel anymore to fix the machine. Yeah. So that is what, and then machine learning and AI can help too. Look again, coming back to cultural buildings. Beautiful buildings you have, right? So look at that. I mean, if you have a parallel twin, the kids can go in, they can use their mobile, they can click it, for example, on this item or on this painting, they can learn, right? And they used to use the mobile, they're not listening to grandma, right? So they can use the mobile, they can learn, and you can donate on the DeFi platform to this museum, or to make the building more beautiful. Or you can take a picture, or not even take a picture, just put your phone on the building, and you can see what architecture it is, and how the history, how the building evolved over 200, 300, 500. Here in Pakistan, you have even 800-year-old, 1,000-year-old buildings, one of the oldest structures in the world. So it is all useful again. It's utility. It is what it is. So machine learning and AI, guys, if you are an entrepreneur, you want to make a lot of money, go into that. Absolutely. Right? because it's the new boom, right? After we had the telecom boom, we had the internet boom, we had the crypto boom, we had the DeFi boom, we had the NFT boom. Okay, now AI boom. It's all again economical driven. Remember what I said before? Economical driven, economical driven. So think about if you want to do something good, just do something good with AI. Do something good with machine learning. Not only economical. The economical benefit, because what you're going to do when you die, nothing you can bring. So there comes again metaverse and AI and machine learning. This is really scary, guys. So imagine, if let's say my father, who is in heaven, had AI, right? And had machine learning. And I had his Instagram account and his Facebook account. I could still talk to my father and ask him for advice in the metaverse. How crazy is that? How crazy. I can still play with my dog who died in the metaverse. And he will do the same bark, the same things, the same stuff, and he will respond to me. So how crazy is it? But do we really want to go there? That's also a question. Is there a utility? What is the utility of that? Guys, we need to see the utility. We live in now, no? We're hopefully not that soon, right? Let's take a look at how we can use it for longevity, how we can use it to maintain the heritage of Pakistan, how we can use it to maintain the good cultures you have here, the good food. I mean, I'm gaining a lot of kilos here, so it's great. So how do we use this? Because it's dangerous. AI is dangerous. ML is dangerous. But let's use it for the good, and let's use it also for here, right? And that's, I think, we're also here. It said prepare for disruption, but let's try to prepare for disruption to do good instead of doing bad. And it's the future, yes, but use all these things which are the future, which have been there already for a long time, but let's use it and not only look at the commercial, because if you do good, all the commercial benefits and the wealth and the abundance comes by itself.
That's right.
So I say always, yalla, let's go, but let's go, no? Let's do it.
Yes, that's a inspiring message. I want to bring in Dr. Rehan now and discuss perhaps the implications on health and health tech. How do you see in the post-COVID era, what have we learned from COVID, and what do you think is going to happen in the future as far as pandemic controls are concerned? What are the technology lessons of the past that can inform how we deal with things in the future? We all suffered insufferable lockdowns, for instance. And then in those lockdowns, we had to try and make do with a lot of technology at that time. So what are the most exciting things that you're looking at in the post-COVID era as far as technology is concerned, AI is concerned? What do you think we should all be looking forward to? If you want to comment on what Derek said, please go ahead. Yeah.
Is it working? Yeah.
Yes.
So I just want to reply for the AI. Actually, yes, you are right. I mean, that it is a bit it's dangerous. So how we are using in Sahadi program, in Saha program, the AI, the AI algos are predicting the critical patient's triage up to 95%. So AI is being used in a very positive way in helping out managing patients, critical patients. So there is a positive way, I mean, to use it, and I mean, and it's being used. Yeah, for the post-COVID, sure, actually COVID helped adaptability, especially the COVID time, for home virtual healthcare and e-pharmacies and e-health. So, and I think it has to move in that direction. And I think we are moving in right direction in that sense that now we never thought that you will be able to communicate with your consultants, with your psychiatrists, with your doctors, your dietitian through just mobile app. I mean, before COVID, yeah, the technology was there, but no one believed it. But now it is being used, and as I said, because of this thing, we are able to give the same experience in healthcare, the patient experience, to those who are far from the big hospitals and the consultants in the capital and big cities. So I mean, yes, the technology is taking healthcare to a next level.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, and for me, it's always a surprise that although sometimes we feel we know so much about the human body, sometimes you'll go to your doctors and they'll say, well, we just don't know anything about that. But in other areas, there's some incredible breakthroughs. I was reading a paper recently about nanorobots and their role inside the body to be able to identify cancer cells, for instance. So you ingest robots and they find cancer cells, and so there's a remarkable sort of length and breadth of all the sort of incredible technologies that are coming down the road, and how that's going to impact our rejuvenation, our longevity, and our utility. Zishan, I want to ask you, I think it's the final question, I've been given a little chit here. What do you think Pakistan has to offer to the rest of the region and the world as far as blockchain technology, as far as the future and the digital future is concerned? And if I have children today in Pakistan, if I have someone who's going to college in Pakistan, what are the skills that Pakistanis need to focus on to be able to meet the challenges of the digital future, to be able to grow into that, and to have the kinds of opportunities we all want for ourselves and our families?
Okay, the question has a two-part. The first part is towards the academia. Again, I am a part of the academia with our accountancy field, and we have now already been added in the academia all the BIs and all these business intelligence modules which are being concerned with the finance. Now, you can't rely only on the spreadsheets now. You have to go to the next step. Few days back with the ChatGPT, with one extension, put the trial, it gives you the balance sheet. So the question was that, do the accountants are required? So the student came to me, said, are we still required? I said, look, listen, see, whatever the balance sheet is being doing, we still are required for the interpretation. The business decision, he can give the options, but the final decision, it lies with us. So we have to get ourselves better equipped over that area. And we are working over this. To be very true, there is always being, because of the current economic situation and other stuff, we are being in a state of big question mark, but everything is not being black. Many positivities are being there. People, they are working over this. For example, I see a big opportunity in the UAE, in Gulf, in the Saudi. They are having the corporate taxes. We work with the government of Malaysia for implementation of the VAT. Then the VAT comes to the UAE, and now the corporate tax is being there. The whole system required to be documented first and then digitalized first. We are far ahead in that area because we are being managing it, handling it, and this is where we can have an excellent resources with us. We can do the export of those resources. We can pay and we can generate the maximum amount of the revenue for this nation in the form of the dollars which is being required by this skill. And these economies, they are not being gauged on their square footage. Just check the amount of the billions of dollars economies working there. And once they are being with this taxation rule, once they are within the VAT rule, once they are getting themselves more and more documented, and we have successfully come out of the FATF. So there's a lot support is being required. What pathways we achieved, we can help them out. So there is a great avenue for the professionals, for the technology professionals, for the tech accountant professionals. So I normally say that first we have the audit manual, then we move to the computer assisted audit techniques, CAT. Now it is no more SCAT, it is going to be AI, artificial intelligence assisted audit techniques. So we have to move ahead. And that's the path for the future and for the Pakistan.
Thank you, Zishan. So I've been told our time's up. I want to thank all the panelists for a riveting discussion. I think we could probably talk about this for the next few hours easily, and the amount of passion that's on this in this panel as well. But thank you, everybody, and let's continue discussing and chatting, and let's look forward to our digital futures together with all its opportunities, some healthy skepticism, but also utility. Right? That's the key word. So thank you so much.
Thank you. This was wonderful. I had to take a few deep dives to understand all the technical conversation going on. So I really loved it when you mentioned focus on the good things, focus on what you can do, enjoy it, don't get too involved into the technicality of it. And then, of course, a very profound question was raised that how much is useful? We are talking so much about it. Do we really need all that 3D ChatGPT? Do we really need it? And how best to productively utilize it? Thank you so much for everyone. I would just request you to stay on for 1 minute. I would like to request our very, very loved Dr. Shamshad Akhtar, Chairperson, Pakistan Stock Exchange, SSGC, and Karandas to please join us on stage to give away the souvenirs to our very esteemed panelists. I would also request our Major General, retired Shehzad Naeem Sahab, Chief Public Affairs Officer with Nutshell Group, Shehzad Sahab. Yes, please. Thank you. We will be presenting a token of appreciation, souvenirs, a book on Pakistan and story of Indus. Dr. Shamshad Akhtar will be giving away the book. If I could request Michael Hartman to please. Yes. Shehzad Sahab, if you could come on this side. Yes. Anna Totova. Derek Hukunkam. Derek, I got your name right, didn't I? Dr. Rehan Al-Taji. And Muhammad Zishan Abid. And our very own moderator, Usman Yusuf. We are all set for our second panel discussion.